What's going on, hustlers? Back at you guys with another video. So today we have another special guest with us. We have Mr. Rudy calling in all the way from Texas. The Texas Longhorns, they had a great game last weekend. I made some money on that. Hopefully, let's see what they do next weekend. And then we've got Mr. Sam White, who's in a different country. I told you guys, every time you guys see him, he's going to be in a different country. Like it's been like three or four countries now. Only God knows. This guy's James Bond. But without further ado, we're gonna get into the video. Rudy is gonna tell us his story, how he got started in the government contracting game, and yeah, I'm excited for you guys to hear it because his is a really good tale about perseverance and not letting your emotions kind of get the best of you when it comes to business and when it comes to kind of just being in the game as a whole. So yeah, Sam, why don't you do your thing?
Yeah, sure thing. It's a pleasure to be back. Pleasure to be back on your screens. And it's good to have Rudy here. So, Rudy, off the bat, just walk us through how did you get into GovCon?
Yes, so it's a good question, Sam. So GovCon, actually it starts back in our transportation. We're in logistics in the last couple of years, and so we were out delivering freight as we did throughout the United States, and we were here in Texas on a base, and then also over in Arkansas. But as we're on the bases making the deliveries for this freight, we just started conversating with the folks on the military base, and they were saying that these were government contracts. And it's like, that's interesting. And so we said, hey, when you guys get some more, let us know. They're obviously a little bit different. It's called freight brokers. And we noticed that the freight was, sporadic. It wasn't as consistent. And as I got into GovCon, I found out why. Because it's, not every day that you get awarded a contract. When it does, it takes time for it to get fulfilled, right? So, in the midst of talking to those folks on the bases, they share with me, and then just going and looking, doing research online is when I started looking into it. The transportation industry started dwindling down as far as the profitability, and so we found that at the beginning of this year it was a great time to pivot and make the change, and so we parked our fleet, which is what we refer to as equipment in the logistics industry, and we made the change. I seen Day. Day just popped up on my YouTube feed, and that's what happened. I looked at one of his videos. He was talking. He's very sincere and upfront, and I reached out to him, called him. He answered the call the first time, and just started talking and said, "Hey, why don't we just schedule, a call, a to find out, if this is a fit for you, and I can answer your questions." And so, kind of in a sense to that's how it happened, and I think the rest is history.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's always interesting how people get into this space. It's never like always what you think because it's very, yeah, you get very random stories. That's really cool, Rudy. So, what aspect of GovCon are you in specifically right now?
Is products. So we're in the product space, and also more specifically, us is they mentioned when we talked. What do we want to start? And I had no idea. It was just a
Mm,
big, broad, uh, opportunity and so many choices. And the main thing, sorry about that. The main thing for me was, my background is automotive, 32 years in the automotive industry. That's what I
well,
eat, sleep, and breathe for that many years running our own automotive shop. And so, that's what appealed to me. It felt like second nature. And Dave was like, hey, it may not work out to be where you're in automotive. It might be something else. Something else might choose you. So just be open to that. And I was a little reluctant. But anyhow, we started working, and yeah, so we go the parts. That's how we got into the parts side of it for automotive specifically. To answer your question, Sam.
mm, cool.
One thing
Good stuff.
I want
Good
to touch
stuff.
on is like Rudy says something really interesting. He phrased it really well because everybody's like, yeah, I want to get into XYZ industry, but sometimes it just doesn't always shake out like that, right? Not to say that you can never get into that industry, but it might just take a little bit of time. The barriers to entry might be high. You might be competing with bigger companies. And Rudy was like, yeah, we ended up going with the thing that, kind of chose us, right? So I think, one really good character trait is just being like open to doing business with the government, providing different things or maybe things that you didn't initially envision, right? Because I know you said you wanted to pivot, but, not everybody pivots directly into exactly what it is that they want. A lot of times it takes a couple weeks or a couple months or sometimes even years down the line before you're able to make that transition into what it is that you envision selling, right? But I always say slow motion is better than no motion, right? So if you can get your foot in the door and get something going, then you got to take it and run with it.
100%.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So when you made that change, Rudy, what was some of the biggest concerns or maybe like fears that you had before working with us?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, Sam. So the one reserve was, as I shared with Dave in the beginning, we wanted to have the time freedom to be able to do what we want, when we want, where we want. And we
Mm.
wanted to take and, compress a yearly income into a monthly income. And those are some of the things that we talked about in the beginning and going over. And Dave was saying, yeah, this is possible. And the goal was to be able to, to not use up our reserves for what we had put aside on our investments and other business ventures so that we could go, as they say in Texas, whole hog in and really just go with it and apply yourself so you can see the results, right? It's a little bit of reserve, being a little bit older, but still the word risk comes up, and when you got risk, there's always going to be reward unless you quit, right? And so, to answer your question, the biggest reserve, Sam, was, is this going to work out? I hear it.
Mm.
There's a lot of people talking, right? There's a lot of echoing going outside on the web. There's a lot of flashiness, but we also know that if it's real shiny objects, you got to be mindful of that because shiny objects are not always real objects; they're knockoffs. And so,
Mm.
something that Dave said in the beginning was, "Hey, this is the long game. This is going to take some time," and that resonated with me because I'm a person of principle. What does that mean to me? It
Mm.
just means that when I started my automotive business, I knew that was a 20-year commitment, a 20-year journey. After 22 years of running an automotive shop and said, hey, I had enough of that. I was fine. Body wasn't responding like it once did, and I wasn't as quick as I wanted to be, right? We all say we're fast until you get beat by the turtle. And you have to realize is some change has to come about. But back to the reason was it's just real simple for me. The long term game, I'm okay with that because that's planning, right? And you can have some bumps and bruises along the way, but you're going to measure yourself and goals and the success that you achieve, right? And so that resonated with me when Dave said this is a long game. It's going to be long term because there's no tree in the world that I've ever seen or been around or planted that grew overnight, that started producing fruit overnight. It was a course of 5 years, 10 years before the tree started to mature. And it's the same thing in business as I've learned, along the way.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that. And so when you spoke to us and when you spoke today, when those reservations came up, like alongside of having that understanding and that honest communication of like this is a long game, was there anything else that kind of made you want to do it anyway, even when there was maybe like a little bit of fear or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you two know, what FOMO is, fear of missing out.
Mm.
Sometimes that's always kind of reserved for many of us, I think, in some regards and aspects in life. But the one thing that I've learned in life thus far in the journey is all things are possible if you just believe in yourself, right? And what I've realized is the greatest, investment that one can invest in is yourself. If you don't
Mm.
believe in investing in your own self, you'll never invest in anything else, and you'll never see it prosper. You'll never see it grow, right? It'll never,
Mm.
ever become successful. But if we invest in ourselves, the long game, again, what Dave referred to, you're going to see the growth. Why? Because you're investing in your mind. You're investing in knowledge,
Mm.
right? You're investing in application. You're investing in systems. And that's where that all comes into. I didn't have no fear, but to answer your question, what, why'd we go, or was there any other questions? No. After I spoke with Day, he was pretty straightforward. Great young man. He's honest. He's upfront. He'll give it to you like it is. If you like it or you don't like it, that's for you to deal with. But I felt like he was going to give us the best opportunity, right, to succeed forward. And he was going to equip us with the proper training to, be able to attain those awards, to be able to get that success, if you will, in the DLA side of things. So that's really how that comes about, Sam.
Mm. Good
Gotcha.
stuff. Good stuff.
Got you. And one thing that I really wanna mention is, and we harp on it, but I don't think we can say this enough, is it's one thing to be transparent, but it's another thing to be transparent about the right things, right? And I think being transparent about the fact that this is a long term commitment, this is a long term investment, this is not a get rich quick scheme, is really really important for us. Like Two Lines Aerospace, we were not profitable for the first 2.5, 3 years. Like we were making money, but we were reinvesting it back into the business, so there wasn't like a lot of extra take home for us. And it literally took 4 years and making multi 8 figures in revenue to get profitable. But like Rudy said, there's no tree that grows overnight. You can't harvest in the same
Mm.
season that you plant. And another thing that I wanna touch on, right, is Rudy was like, yeah, I just believed like in myself. And sometimes you're gonna be delusional. Sometimes people are gonna be like, this guy's crazy, or what is this business model? I've never heard of this, right? My favorite saying as of 2024, that's probably my saying for the year, is you're only crazy until you start to win, right? Until you have something tangible and something to show for it, everybody's like, okay, this guy's off his rocker. Maybe he just invested a couple $1,000s in some knowledge, some training for himself, some systems, right? And there's no ROI on it, right? But then once you start to win, then everybody's like, oh well, he had the vision, and Rudy and his wife and his team, they believed in themselves, etc., etc., right? So you're only crazy until you win. And it's really, really hard to get other people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first, right? So I think, the long term approach, and then, the self belief up front that, like, okay, I'm just going to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the results that I'm looking for and win my first contract. I think those are kind of, aspects of resolve that separated you from the pack. And I know this is a bit off topic, Sam, but again, on the topic of transparency, Rudy, can you tell us a little bit about how your account got locked, right? And then you got it unlocked, but while it was locked, you won your first contract anyways. I want to talk about that, and just show people, like there's ups and downs to this, right? It's not all glitz and glamour. It's not always smooth sailing. So if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about how your account got locked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were business as usual, calling, making you know, calls and getting quotes, submitting bids, getting those in. And, some people, I'm going to say this in fairness today. Dave was pushing me hard, and I would talk to my wife, Sandy, and say, man, he wants me to put 40 a day in. And I was like, that's a lot for me to do. I'm just trying to get a hold of this. But Dave would say that every time with sincerity, and I received it. I did my best, and it was more like 5 a day, sometimes 1 a day, because of the time spent getting these quotes and things, right? But what happened is getting the quotes, we get into our account. I go to log in my account, and it was locked. And then we get an email, and it says that the DIBS validation team has your account under review, and they want you to submit documents. They requested a few documents and some pictures and a few other things. And so we submitted that. It took about 3 days to get it in. Once we got it in, DIBS validation team responded and said, hey, we got your information. This could take up to 75 days, right? And so we were thinking, man, I was talking with Day, and he said, just keep going. Just be prepared, keep making calls, keep getting quotes. And I was like, man, if it's going to go over the 60 days, 75 days, the quotes are going to be expired. He said, no big deal, just keep going. Just keep doing the same thing. And so we did. During the process, it was locked for 60 days, exact to the day. But during that process, we had submitted all those bids prior, and they started communicating with us and saying, Day says if they ask for traceability, then that's a good sign. Well, we had 4 COs, the contracting officers, reach out via email requesting traceability. And, we learned from Day. He mentored us, he trained us, and, you always have questions. You feel like you got it down until it's time to get in the game. When the coach calls your number and you got to run out in the field, all of a sudden between the sideline and the middle of the field, you forgot to play, right? And then you just look at everybody and they just point you in the right direction. Well, that's what I was doing with Dave. I was like, hey, Dave, this is what we got to do. You see, just send this over, get this from them. So I made a phone call to the vendor. They sent it over, sent it to them. And so that's how that went. Now, during that process, it was kind of, I don't want to say emotional, but I was like, man, this is ridiculous. Why did they do this now instead of from the get-go? But, they have their guidelines and they have their protocols they follow. The main thing is that I took away from it is, don't quit. I reminded myself of something that we had on a big team, and we would always say this, is, winners never quit and quitters never win. And with that in mind, I just reminded myself, hey, don't quit. If you don't quit, you're going to win.
Absolutely. It's almost like it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
Listen,
these types of things.
the only guarantee you have of success in life is just not giving up. Eventually, if you keep throwing something at the wall, it's gonna stick. And in my experience, I've learned that really really good stuff. It's not easy, right? Nothing in the best stuff in life. You got to fight for it, and typically, right before you get exactly what it is that you prayed for, that you were wishing for, that you were working for, it gets really really hard. You get punched in the mouth. Hell, Sam and I have experienced that our damn selves. We've taken some licks. Rudy's taken some licks. I've taken some licks. Take it from us, all three of us, in different aspects, whether that be sales, whether that be in government contracting itself, consulting, educating, whatever the case may be, flight training. Right before you get exactly what you wanted, it gets really, really hard and you get punched in the mouth, right? So I think the biggest thing is, you just got to stay in the fight. And Rudy dealt with it for 60 days, but I was like, listen, dude, just stay patient. Stay patient, trust the work that you put in. And that's one thing that I really love about the industry is the work that Rudy put in prior to his account being locked for 60 days is what won him the contract, right? It wasn't the stuff that he did after the fact. So everything that he did after, that's going to be the stuff that, it's September 2nd today. That's going to be the stuff that, is paying his bills in October, November, December, January, February, March, April of next year, right? So that's why I really like this industry because, you'll get compensated for the work that you do today in a couple months as well. But, I mean, the biggest takeaway is, it's not always easy. Like Sam and I are not here to pitch you guys that this is going to be smooth sailing 24/7. You're dealing with the U.S. military, dude. They can blacklist you at their convenience, right? As long as you're following the rules, then they'll remove you from whatever list that you were on eventually. But sometimes it's tough. Like if it was easy, everybody would do it. Sam and I's job is to give you guys all the information so you can make an informed decision, and sometimes that includes telling you, hey, this very likely could happen. Your account could get locked. However, if you stick to the plan, if you trust the mission, if you trust the work, right, then you will get rewarded regardless of whatever external factors. And that was what Rudy did. And yeah, I mean, just really big kudos to you, man, because it's really easy to get discouraged and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. My account has been locked. Literally just do not, I have no interest in trying anymore. But you stuck with it, you stayed in the fight. And like you said, quitters never win and winners never quit. So you get out what you put in. So I just wanted to touch on that. Sam, you could get back to the script. But
That's good. It's
yeah,
good lessons though. It's like it doesn't really matter what the vehicle is or what business you go into. The lessons seem to transfer over, and you apply it to whatever business you're in. In this case, the lessons are always very true. Like you're hearing it firsthand. But I'm sure, Rudy, the people are going to want to know, where is your company at now? What's changed, and how have you managed to scale?
So scaling, my wife is working side by side. So now we're doing double the amount of work, and we're excited to see.
Oh
oh, did
no,
you just drop?
he's dropped out.
All right,
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to reinvite
he
him
was
to.
in a good flow state as well. He was dropping some gems in there.
He was dropping some gems, bro. What time is it over there,
3:30 a.m.
bro? So it's directly 12-hour difference,
Directly 12. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bro. Do
This
you need
ain't
to
this,
change, you need to change your availability? Like edit it
this
in Outlook, bro.
Nah, it's all good. It's definitely not sustainable. Like I'm only here for 3 months tops. Then I'm going back to Europe because yeah, this is pretty crazy. But it's all good, man. Like I'm tweaking it a bit, and as long as I get in the same routine, it's fine. I can kind of handle it.
Okay, all right, man. I mean,
It's
you
all
can
good,
adjust
man.
the availability as needed, bro, to make your life easier.
Yeah, appreciate it,
Sorry
man.
about that, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know what
All
happened.
good, all good.
So we're gonna keep going. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
all right.
We're gonna
Sorry
keep it
about that. You have to
rolling.
do some editing on it.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but he automatically decided to update my computer.
Yeah, gotcha. Um,
Cool. Should we continue for a word day?
yeah. You
Sweet.
guys can continue.
So, Rudy, yeah, you were going in about where your company's at now. You're talking to us about how you've been scaling and what's changed for you guys. Yeah, where are we at
Yeah,
as of
so
today?
from start to now, winning the contracts, and we've got a couple pending. So, that's exciting. But the goal is, like I said, my wife is working with me, and we're planning to grow
Mhm.
this and get faster results. And we're looking and planning to look for a building here in the small town that we're in, so that we can warehouse to work out of as well, but also to bring on some more employees, because we also know that if you're going to go a far distance, you can't do it alone. It's the people that you surround yourselves that will help carry you that distance. And so, our goal, where we're planning on
Mm.
going is we want to help change lives. We want to be able to do things worldwide. Whether we have goals and aspirations to help folks in other countries that don't have what we have here in the U.S., and be able to provide things that we see as just an everyday common thing that's guaranteed to us they don't have in other countries. And so with that broad view, right, and that passion, we want to see growth. Now, we talked at the beginning of this that our goal was to take a yearly earnings or salary and make it a monthly. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. And to achieve that, we only see that coming by we got to put in more bids, more quotes, so that we can achieve that, right? And get that rolling.
Well, one thing that I want to say is eventually it's not going to be more quotes. It's just going to be the
Yeah.
quality is going to be better, and your margins are going to be better. As you go through. But yeah, for now to get to that point, it is going to be more. Um, but I mean, yeah, you guys are definitely on the right track, and I think you've got the right idea with foreign military sales as well. So I think that'll be great for you guys. I want to make sure that we keep this, kind of condensed, so that way we keep people's
Yes.
attention span. And then I know for Mr. Sam, he's on the other side of the world uh, from us right now. Um, so let's hit Rudy with like the last question, and then we'll
Yeah.
make it nice and short and sweet because he's already given us so much knowledge and
Yeah, I
insight.
think he's covered everything that we would have asked him anyway. So the last thing really that we want to hear from you is ultimately what would you tell someone who is looking to get started with the DLA and is considering getting some outside help and some coaching
Yeah.
with that?
Sure. I mean, I recommend Day 100%. Why? He's upfront. He's honest. You know, Day's what do you call it? Training. Day's classes. His expertise, in my opinion. And maybe Day will change it. Maybe he'll edit this recording and take it away. But you know, for what Day offers, he's way underpriced as far as I'm concerned. The value that he brings, what he offers, it should be probably 2.5 times more than what he currently charges. And I'm not saying that because I want to see other people pay more. I just believe sometimes we ultimately undervalue ourselves, right? But again, that's someone else speaking. That's not from Dave's lips. That's from a complete stranger that didn't know one another just a few months back. And so, what I recommend is number one, take action. Number two, invest in yourself. And
Mm.
number three, you got to believe in yourself. If you don't have those three things, I don't care what you do, you're not going anywhere, right? And it's something that I like to say is I think Sam might appreciate this more since he's from the UK. Is we're all like a bag of tea, right? Until you get dipped in the boiling water, you don't know what you're made of. Till you get dipped in that hot water, you don't know what you're made of.
Mm.
This GovCon industry is going to be challenging. It's going to try you. But remember, when you get in that boiling water, what are you going to do? You're going to jump out and run away, or you're going to stay in and keep going forward, right? And that's the key because the outcome is definitely up to us. Day and I had a great conversation from the very first time, the consultation, and he just was honest. And he said, if you put in the work, you're going to get the results. And so that's what I've stuck with. And has Day is there, he'll answer your phone call. He'll answer your text message, your email, right? I can tell you there's other folks that won't even do that in other industries. And I can probably say, in GovCon it's the same. Now Day is not your personal assistant. He does not need to respond to you like you're paying him $1 million. And Day's not moved by money, so it's all about him helping other people. And which that's what I appreciate the most about Day is he wants to help others get a piece of the pie, right? All we need is some crumbs, and with enough crumbs, you can make a pie.
Hmm.
Thank you
That's
for the
beautiful.
compliment.
I'm a big fan of the tea analogy as well, Rudy. Big fan. Appreciate you putting that in there. That's beautiful, man. That's a yeah, that's a beautiful story. Anything else, Dave, that you wanted to?
No, man,
wrap up
Rudy
with?
he hit the nail on the head. He gave everything
Yeah,
he really touched on everything. I don't even think we would have needed to have, a list of questions or a script. I think Rudy would have just
it's
he would have
just
just hit the nail on the head. And I mean, normally we don't in these interviews we never pitch anybody, and we're never like, hey, we think we're the best people on the market. You should go with us. But since Rudy brought it up, yeah, I mean, we really want to make an effort. Anybody who does decide that we're a good fit for them, we're a text message away, a phone call
Absolutely.
away, right? We try to be super accessible for you guys because it's a really big piece of the pie. We don't you if you get 1% of what DLA spent last year, it's $2.7 billion. I don't even need a percentage. You give me a hundredth of a percent, a thousandth of a percent, and I'm happy with that. My grandkids are gonna be happy with that. So I mean, it's a really big pie, and our goal is just to educate and inform everybody to the best of our ability. And I'm glad that Rudy was able to benefit from that. And yeah, no, I mean, it's really been a pleasure. It's really been a pleasure to work with you and your wife. You guys have been very consistent. You guys have done everything that was asked of you, even in moments where it felt like you didn't want to. You stuck with it, and I mean, you got rewarded for it. With your first contract. So yeah, just super proud of you guys.
but
And
Day,
I think
you know now because of Rudy, we've got a 2.5 times our prices now.
yeah, now we've got a
No, I'm joking.
2.5.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Don't worry, everyone. We won't do that. We won't do that to you.
We won't do that, but I'm glad to know that our price point and our value that we're providing, matches up. So I'm super super happy that people feel like they're getting a lot of value. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. We are doing great on time here, Rudy. It was an absolute pleasure,
Thank you.
my man. Yeah, hopefully, maybe in 6 months, a year, we get to
I
have you back
love
on the
that.
show. You get to show us the
Yep.
warehouse, and maybe you have the wife come on, and we talk about the progression and
She's a
all
little
that stuff.
camera shy, but we'll work on that. But also too, just want to add, this is not in no way, shape, or form a paid sponsorship or advertisement for Day. He he has worked and he's earned it. He's valuable to the GovCon industry, and he can help you. He can help you if you allow him to help you, and just do what he tells you to do. That's the most important thing, right? Do what you're asked to do, give it your best, and you'll see the success.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Wise words.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Yeah. With that, I don't want to say anything else. Let's just end on that. Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Not only are we sure of your success, but we're sure of it. Let's go print those dollars.